Hi and welcome to Voices from Acudemy. I am Shameem Saidoo, your host, and with me all the way, Yousouf Neetoo. This will be our first webcast and all excited for it. Voices from Acudemy will be on a regular basis, dealing with topics surrounding the education and training aspects of adults. We will try to put together the best picks of the training industry. So, Yousouf, for this first one, it will be my pleasure to leave the introductory to you.
Hi everyone, hi Shameem. Thank you for hosting the webcast today. Very excited to be embarking on these podcasts with you as we look to discuss the training industry, various topics, bringing in some great guest speakers, and then also seeing what the current landscape is. So really looking forward to discussing this with you today, Shameem.
Definitely same with me. And we have so much to say all along. And just to give an overview to our listeners, we have a long list of experienced speakers who will be joining us throughout the podcast over the weeks to come. So we'll ask everyone to join in every week, I would say, to have experience on the different topics we'll be discussing. Therefore, Yousouf, first thing first, let us introduce to our listeners what is Acudemy.
So Shameem, what is Acudemy? We are a private training institute. We offer around 50 plus courses now in numerous subjects. We predominantly offer face-to-face classroom, company on-site, and more recently online as well, something we'll touch on later on in the show today.
While introducing Acudemy with more than 50 courses, I just reminding myself like way back when we started, just on a few courses, and now adding it to face-to-face training. Now from last year we have what we call online courses. I think this has been a definitely improvement from Acudemy from the last years.
Certainly. Well, I'll give you a bit of a background, to be honest. I think most of our listeners would like to know, well, how did we start? So we're now in our 6th year of trading. And in that period, we've definitely grown. A lot of ups, and naturally in business, there'll be a few downs as well. But essentially, Acudemy was born on the back of what I'd say was to do with our sister company, which is an accountancy firm. And my dad used to come home when I was younger. He used to come home and he used to moan about the staff, and they used to be qualified accountants and just not enough practical training. So me being young, I was thinking career direction, which way I was going to go, and I came, to him with an idea. Why don't we create our own program? And 6 months down the line, we sat down and we created our first bookkeeping sort of accounting essentials course, and then we promoted that, and next thing you know, we're running 3 courses in finance, and then from there we're now 50 plus, reaching 100 courses, and it's been one great journey.
You mentioned about the stuff your dad was moaning about. Funny question will be, did you train those stuff once you got your courses running?
Of course. They would have been our test case. So yeah, and they've expanded on their careers since then. So definitely we gave them a good basic understanding, and probably the key thing is the practical training, because it sticks with our ethos and purpose of providing practical training and hands-on experience. So what we try to do with all our programs is that we ensure there's a practical element to them, because anyone can essentially go online, they can read up on a subject, or they can go to a classroom and be what I call death by PowerPoint presentations, and essentially there's no benefit. Or where what we try to do with all our courses, we want you to be engaged. We want you to walk out of the classroom thinking, wow, that was a great training course. And we make sure our trainers also deliver this in a certain way, and ensure that there's enough interaction. People are moving around the classroom, and what we call working from the back of the class, and essentially using experience and exercises and different methods of learning, essentially.
I also think this is a very strong point. What makes Acudemy different from training provider? So for these few thing you mentioned, we can say that Acudemy take out its head among the crowd and make us different from other training providers. We know how the competition is, how many training providers there are throughout the UK. So yes, this is Acudemy.
Yeah, certainly, and whilst there are so many different providers, and I see them as peers, not essentially competitors. But what I want to say is that we differentiate ourselves by essentially providing courses where one, you will come in or you will come out of the course in a better position than when you first walked in, making sure that our trainers are from a industry, or they have industry experience. When I mean by this point, or what I mean by this point, is that our trainers, they also work in the field, or they're active in their field of expertise. So, for instance, the finance trainers, they're either qualified accountants or at the same time, or previously were qualified accountants, and they're just in retired positions. But essentially, they would bring their experience that they've built up over the years, and they will then pass this on to the delegates. And what we also want to see is like feedback from the delegates in terms of how the courses went, how we can improve, because we take on feedback whether it is positive or negative, and we act upon the feedback as well, which is probably a crucial point.
This is to say that Academy chooses the best among the pool of trainers, so as to offer the best of training to the delegates coming to Academy.
Yes, definitely, because essentially we're not staying at just the 50 plus courses. We're always looking to increase our portfolio of courses. So I'm always looking for new trainers, looking for new core subjects that would fit into our ethos of practical training, and something that we can obviously provide to our clients and delegates out there as well.
Let me ask you, what are the type of courses Academy actually offer?
That's a good question, Shameem, because I say 50 plus courses, so we could be here for more than a few hours if I list them all. To start with, I think the main thing to know is that we provide a face-to-face classroom, or we're predominantly a face-to-face provider. So we have nationwide locations, so throughout the UK in all major cities, and then also we do a lot of company on site and also online. So this is something to bear in mind, and these delivery methods essentially cover our core subjects as well. So what I'll do is, instead of listing all the courses, I'll probably give you like our popular 5 topics that over the last few years we've seen a huge demand in these subject areas. For instance, or the first one up will be payroll. So payroll is an interesting one because the laws are always constantly changing. It's becoming more HR related rather than just finance. So we get a huge mixture and huge uplift in demand from both companies and individual when it comes to payroll. And the laws are always changing. So it's one where you continuously every year you would have to just upgrade your knowledge in terms of the latest tax laws or law changes. So we've definitely seen a huge demand in that sector. Next one would be soft skills. Now, what I mean by soft skills is essentially there's quite a few courses that would fall under soft skills. For instance, you've got communication skills, business development, key account management, time management, effective delegation. There's quite a lot that I could list under this bracket of soft skills. But what I'd say about soft skills is this is probably seen as one of the most in demand by employers, in the sense that they look for these key skills within the employees, and also any new employees that they're looking to hire as well. So we've seen a huge uplift in the last couple of years for this type of course, and it's just growing because I think it's become essential for employers to have this knowledge set within their workforce.
Employers are not only looking for employees with single skills. Yeah. So when you're talking about soft skills, is you have a different, like you can couple different skills together. For example, sales, communication, make it a bundle of abundant skills at the end of the day.
Yes, correct. They're essentially interlinked. So most of these skills are, you need a good broad range as a employee or as an individual. You need a good base, or for communication skills, you need to have a good base for like how to delegate effectively if you're within a management position or working with teams. And I think this area will only just grow because of the current situation, which we're going to talk on a bit later on in the show, because it's essential, working remotely, that you have these skills when it comes to communication effectively, and delegating effectively, and also time management. How do you split your time working from home and balancing, work and life? So they're all interlinked, and it's good as a individual to have a broad knowledge and base on this subject, or this, what I call this subject as in soft skills. So next up, another course which we've seen increase in demand over the last few years is leadership and management, which is a very interesting one, because as we can see that more and more companies are becoming, the bigger they grow, the more complicated their essentially hierarchy, if there is a hierarchy, or management of staff become more complicated. So we see that companies are being more active in this area. So when it comes to either junior managers, team leaders, senior managers, or even top management. So it's about effective communication, and again, it entwines with soft skills, but it's more specific for leaders. So how to be an effective leader. And again, it touches with what the current position is Yes, so in terms of leadership, it's definitely a crucial part for what we're going through right now. In terms of it needs to be effective. Working from home and working remotely is definitely the management style because we can see there's probably individuals that micromanage, or there's ones that are flexible, and all of this encompasses under the leadership and management training that we offer. So it's definitely a subject that I can see that will definitely increase in the months and years to come.
So definitely talking about leadership, so we've been improving from leadership throughout from the last 30, 40 years now. Yeah. So we don't now even talk about the boss. We talk about leaders. So for example, just to give you an insight of our leadership courses, for example. So you could be looking at, for example, managerial styles, what you mentioned earlier, uh, understanding the organization culture, yeah, and also looking into managing stakeholders and their expectation. So this has been what you can say improved from years to years on the different modules. So like meeting more the market expectation and the company culture, of course.
Yes, certainly, and also probably a point that we should also make is when we take on a client, especially for the more company on site side of things, we like to have a pre-course meeting or discussion with our trainers, make sure we get all the outcomes and requirements at start, and essentially it's important that we obtain this, and that way our trainer knows how to prepare or just make sure that all these objectives are planned and met. So the next topic that which is been popular for many years is Lean Six Sigma. Lean Six Sigma is essentially a process management system or methodology which companies can essentially implement, and they can use this to reduce waste and improve efficiency within the workforce, and also looking at cost saving as well, which has proven. And this is a great topic that not only just corporate big organizations from your FTSE 100 companies can implement, but then also the small SMEs. And it's not just geared to just one sector as well. So we've covered training with various sectors like manufacturing, financial, retail, hospitality. You're looking at aerospace, oil and gas. So a huge mixture of companies that we've carried that training for, and both nationwide, but then also globally as well, which has been great.
I agree on that, Yousouf. Lean Six Sigma doesn't touch on the single field. So it goes everywhere. Everyone wants to reduce the waste. Everyone wants to improve the process. So just to mention forefathers of Lean Six Sigma, you have Toyota, you have, for example, Motorola as well. So these are the forefathers of Lean Six Sigma, and many other companies now base themselves on their findings to improve their process.
Yes, correct, and it's and there's different levels as well. So there's yellow belt, black belt, and green belt, which is the popular one, and it is a topic that we will expand on in later shows.
So we also have, I'll just add into the topic of courses that we usually offer is the Prince 2. So Prince 2 Foundation as well as practitioner, Yousouf.
Yes, I was just literally about to jump on that. So Prince 2 is a popular course, and is to do with project management. So essentially, it's a method and understanding how to manage and control stages of the project. It is adopted in many countries worldwide, including the UK and obviously Europe and the US. Essentially, there's two parts to Prince2. There's the foundation and then also the practitioner. The foundation obviously talks about how to start up a project and gives you the foundational knowledge of how to run through the process, whereas the practitioner obviously looks at actually implementing the project. It's a great course. It's certified with Axelos as well, PeopleCert, so it is popular in demand. I think there's a lot of companies that take on projects, and there's a need for like project managers and anyone involved in the project as well.
Every project team is willing to deliver the project they're working on the best effective and efficient way, and to do that, Prince2 is the way to do it. We were surprised at start just how Prince2 is like in demand, and people are willing to every time not only completing the course to be to have the certificate, but also we need to let you guys know that Prince2 do have updated version. Like I would say the last one, Yousouf, is 2017.
Yes, correct. 2017 is the latest edition of Prince2, and like you mentioned, it updates the content essentially.
So at some point in time with Acudemy, I would say go to 2017. It was the obvious decision for us to expand. Yeah, I mean to expand expansion of our training venues nationwide because of the increase in demand, and also just to make courses, to make training closer to our delegates.
Yes, that's correct. So essentially, Shameem, we identified that one of the ways to reach a wider audience and target is by offering courses closer to home. So we now offer majority of our courses throughout the UK, within the big major cities. So London being our hub, Birmingham, Manchester, Edinburgh, Glasgow, even down south in Reading, Bristol now, and always looking at new possibilities as well. The reason behind it was, like I mentioned, it was just accessibility for our delegates. What we can see is that the prices of traveling into a hub like London or Birmingham, if you're coming down from say Manchester, it's very costly, and you could pay £100 for a train ticket one way, and also staying over if the course is more than one day. Which adds up, and staying in London, for example, my hometown, is not cheap. You can be minimum £100 a night at a decent hotel. So yeah, there's the cost element to it for our delegates that we saw that this was an opportunity for them to attend a classroom or location closer to home. But then also the flip side to that is that being out of work, so taking time off work, you still have the emails coming in, you still have the work to be done. So, for instance, someone like me as well, being away, you still have emails coming in and pinging on your phone, and it is a distraction. So moving closer, attending a classroom closer to home, it means that your concentration level will be focused predominantly on the training subjects at hand, and getting the best out of the training session, which is key, because essentially it's an investment in yourself.
Exactly, it's a no-brainer, I would say, when it comes to proximity, when it comes to costs. Uh, it's much more easier for them to have their trading, for example, in their hometown, near to work. And for example, just to enlighten a bit on this, if you're coming down to London for a 3 day course, so you need to take out the traveling, you need to take out the stay and the accommodation, and all this can add up to 1 week, and as well 1 week of work left behind. So it does add up to your workload.
Yes, and cost. Don't forget that cost is probably the big one as well. So, the cost of the course might be sub £1,000, but then by the time you add all of these traveling expenses, it can be closer to 1,500. So it does add up.
Yes, of course, and we are not discouraging anyone coming down to London. Just to add up, also, we do have like partnership with hotels where you can have preferred rates if you're staying down in London. We have met with an obstacle this year, the COVID-19. That was our planned objectives and goals, but we tried to spin things around. Acudemy saw this as an opportunity to prioritize online, or what you call distance learning.
To start with your first point of COVID-19, it has been a global disaster in the sense that the economy has essentially come to a stop, and it has essentially made companies rethink or adapt to the current situation. So, in mind of this, we also saw this as an opportunity, but this was even prior to COVID coming into place. We were always thinking that to run on alongside our classroom training, we wanted to expand onto distance learning and online learning. Just to be clear, there's a difference between essentially e-learning and online learning. E-learning is what we call short videos and self-paced learning, where you have like gamification, you have multiple choice questions and assessments, and at the end you receive a certificate in that particular subject. And this is something that we do offer. We're offering over 100 courses in various subjects online now as well, so what I call e-learning. But in terms of the project that we're discussing right now, Shameem, we're talking about a distance learning tool, which essentially is like a learning management system, whereby it's more for your professional diplomas. You also have your short courses that will be available on there. There'll be the options to directly contact our trainers via webinar or book in a meeting, and you'll be able to submit all your assessments on there. There'll be blogs, there'll be various learning content. There will also be options within a forum. So it's like what I call a learning hub in one place for delegates and students to essentially log on to and carry out their learning.
Exactly, wherever you are, it adapts to your timetable, I would say. We also have like full support for the tutor, for the trainer, and it's most importantly self-paced.
Yes, correct. And this is something that we've been always thinking over the last few years, and it's just I can see this is essentially the way the landscape will be going towards. because as we can see that most companies are working from home, and there's going to be an increased demand for learning from home as well. So things are changing, and it will be interesting to see how companies will essentially adapt to this current situation, and how long this is going to last, because it's going to definitely change the landscape in the coming months towards now and the end of the year.
So with COVID-19 around, everyone is adapting to the new trend, I would say, working from home. Might be many of us have now had their small offices around the corner in the house, just a quiet place to work, and also could be a quiet place to study as well. So this is the idea behind distance learning and full support from our staff. Lastly, our support during this pandemic time, giving our shoulder to those in need. Yousouf, can you go further on this?
Yes, certainly, Shameem. It's obviously it's a tough time for everyone. It has been, and what we can say is that we give our thanks to all key workers out there, especially the guys on the front line, the NHS, for example, and all others that have kept the country going. And we saw this as, a way to also give back. So what we introduced is free learning, or free e-learning, for all furloughed staff. And we see this as definitely a way for companies to get involved and make sure their employees are using this time to learn. And what better way to do this is by offering free courses. Value aside, it's about making sure the community still grows, and we still, hand in hand, we develop and we move forward from this time. And also what we're also doing is, if any sort of contributions for this free e-learning, we're supporting one of our partners, Cocoa Runners, and what they're doing is they're doing a scheme called Chocs for Docs, and it's in the name. It's obviously chocolates for doctors, but not only doctors, but anyone in the NHS. So any sort of contribution we receive, we're donating it to these guys, and they're obviously ordering some nice treats for the staff at the NHS, which I think is a really nice touch.
Definitely, it will be a reward to all the NHS staff who work hard. The loss 3 to 4 months now ongoing, and I think the way Acudemy supported them through the Chocs for Docs. So we all hope that everyone contributes, and a way of like buying our courses, and this way we can help as well others. So just to touch on the different online courses that we do have, and what Yousouf said. So it can be anyone can be doing the online courses. We have it from HR, leadership management, communication skills, marketing, security and governance, health and safety, very popular one, health and social care, very popular one as well. So this is how Acudemy has been giving support to everyone during this pandemic time, and we do hope that we continue on the same trend and maybe doing better.
Yes, certainly, Shameem. I think it's crucial to give back to the community where we can.
Exactly, Yousouf, and also expect the same in return, I would say. Well, that's all for today's first episode of Voices from Acudemy. Thank you for listening. Yousouf, it has been my pleasure for our first podcast to be the host and discuss about Acudemy.
Yes, Shameem, it's been great, and we thank all the listeners for tuning in, and we look forward to the future podcast. Thanks everyone.
Join us again on our next webcast when we will be discussing more about different fields of training. Make sure you do visit us at acudemy.com and sign into our mailing list. Thank you from your hosts, Shameem and Yousouf. Cheers. Bye, guys.